Yo, what's going on, everybody? AA Ryan here, and
Raider Pete.
you got it. And we're here. It's been a long time. Back in action for another review, but a solo movie review of El Camino, a Breaking Bad movie. So really excited to review this and talk about it, discuss it. Been looking forward to it. Well, thing is, they literally just announced it only a month ago, practically. And though there's been rumors for a while now of the movie.
Yeah, there were people I would tell them, hey, October 11th or 12th, and they're like, what? I need a marathon again, you know?
Yeah, and that's what it did. Got most people doing. Oddly enough, I had just finished marathoning Breaking Bad, and I was halfway through marathoning Better Call Saul, and they got dropped. So I was like, okay, sweet. I got another. Yeah, it was perfect. So I was I sensed it. But yeah, we're here to break it down, kind of discuss it, give our opinions on it. So warning. This will contain spoilers. Warning. Because you can't, at this point, if you haven't seen it, it's on Netflix and select theaters. So you can choose not to listen to this, or the reason I'm releasing it here on Monday is because, I wanted everybody to kind of, get their dosage before they came to hear what we had to say.
Before we ensue on the review, can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah.
Do you think people need to have seen Breaking Bad in its completion in order to enjoy El Camino the movie?
So after watching the movie, I say this. I say, as a fan, you will enjoy it even more, because it really is
more meaning behind everything.
More meaning behind everything. It really is the perfect ending for that character.
Yeah.
As far as a standalone movie, though, I think it does do a good job showing what this character went through. Maybe some of the flashback scenes are a little out of context for somebody who hasn't seen the show, but regardless, at least with the ones with Todd in them, they show what Jesse went through as a captive and that he was trapped and all this. So, but I will say ultimately, if you want to really enjoy this movie to the max, watch the entire Breaking Bad series. You don't need to watch Better Call Saul though.
No,
for
you
this
don't.
movie.
You don't.
I do suggest you watch it
Oh,
still.
yes. Yeah.
But just, for this movie, that
all of it's enjoyable, but yeah, for sure in that order. But if you happen to watch El Camino first, maybe it'll intrigue you to go and watch Breaking Bad and then watch El Camino again. Just because of the fact that, most hardcore fans, at the end of the last episode watching Jesse ride off, everyone for years were like, what happened to Jesse?
Yep.
Did he get away? We want to know, because we were living and dying by all of the stress balls and downward spirals the poor guy had to experience.
Yeah.
That we really want to know. So if anything, this film really finally quenches our thirst for that knowledge of what happened to Jesse.
It really does.
Yeah.
And like we said, I think it was extremely well executed, the perfect ending for this character. What we always wanted, that we kind of thought and assumed he got, but we never truly knew, because his last scene was just riding off into the darkness. And before it jumps right back into that, the movie opens up with a awesome scene, a little flashback, the first of many in this movie, of Jesse and Mike, assuming maybe just hours before they come up to Walt and tell him they're out. This is after the train robbery, after Walt kind of lets the whole Todd shooting the little kid thing go, and at this point Mike and Jesse are kind of just out of it. They want their half, and then Mike wants to sell the methylamine and all that shit. Well, I guess we never saw some scene where Mike and Jesse went out to the river, the very river that not Walt and Jesse, Mike and Jesse go out to the very river that Walt killed Mike.
So when Jesse is talking to Mike, and then Jesse finally leaves, you're talking that's moments before Walt showed up?
No.
It's a whole, just same place, different
Yeah, same place. I think it's just a place Mike likes, you know. It's it's a scenic kind of...
It's peaceful place.
Yeah, out of, away from everybody else. But I think that's just hours before they go tell Walt they're out, So it was nice because ultimately it's, it's setting up for the end of the movie. Jesse's talking to Mike about, I don't think Walter's going to like this. And he goes, well, what are you going to do afterwards? And, Jesse's kind of like, well, I don't know. What do you think? What would a guy like you, my age, do? And Mike suggests Alaska. It's the best place to get a fresh start. It's the new frontier, or the last frontier, I should say.
Yeah.
And maybe a new frontier for Jesse. But so, it kind of foreshadows, which we were in the series, if you remember, Jesse had mentioned about going to Alaska, right? I think he told Saul that. Like, Saul's like, what are you thinking? He's like, Alaska. He's like, Saul's like, Alaska? Sure, kid. Sounds great. Something like that. And so it's cool they touched back on that. And it was cool to see Mike because, they had a good relationship, Mike and Jesse. And, perhaps, that last little real good moment with them together.
Mm-hmm. Little things like that. Little things brought up in conversations, and all of a sudden it comes to fruition.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
It's really nice.
I like how that's written.
And then, dang, it was literally just split right back into it. I mean, just like, the show was just coming back for another season.
Downpour, sweating, crying, bleeding, scars, driving the El Camino.
Hysterically laugh crying.
Yeah.
Just where we ended it. But literally moments before, well, you guys remember the sirens that were coming up the hill when Walt was, dancing to Baby Blue around the meth lab. Those are the cops Jesse sees, and he pulls over to a residence real quick and kind of dips down, finds the gun in the glove box, which he knows about and we'll get to later.
Mm-hmm.
But they fly by and he skedaddles and goes to seek refuge at some old homies. And man, those some good scenes with Skinny Pete and Badger, man.
Skinny Pete and Badger. I mean, they were probably the most loyal people to Jesse. Probably the only loyal people to Jesse besides maybe like one of his girlfriends.
Right, yeah. I would agree, yeah. I mean, they really were. I mean, and then we see in this movie that Pete even more so. Badger always was like, dopey Badger.
Yeah.
But regardless, it was still good. And, we start off with them playing games and get their whole, like, dogging on each other. And then Jesse shows up and they almost didn't recognize him, and he's just almost like in a haze. I'm sure they get the car off the street. Jesse smashes ramen and craft singles and Pringles
right away. They take care of the car, hide it in the backyard in a tarp
it,
feed the man, give the man food and water, and he's got a bed to crash on. I mean,
and that's the thing. I actually watching it again. I think they basically it's set up like they were getting the car back and Jesse just walks inside assumingly, and they were still tarping, and Jesse just helped himself to the food.
Yeah. And
then just got up and went straight to the bed without even saying anything. Just an ultimate just survival, eat, sleep, go.
Yes.
But man, we really kind of see the whole PTSD he's gotten from that 6 months of being it
really did remind me of hearing about people that were prisoners of war trapped in cages, whether it be Vietnam or even in Japan, and being trapped underground for many months, if not, years.
I mean,
that's basically what he went through.
Yeah, I mean, you're pretty much a captive. You're maybe developing Stockholm syndrome even, it's just in love. He woke up comfortable, and the first thing he thought of was the prison, the cell. He was comfortable there almost at that point.
So you're saying he became kind of like Reek from Game of Thrones?
Yeah, not as intense, but
no, yes. Of course not as intense.
But he was getting there, man. He's pretty much tied the dog. But he freaks out like a rabid dog, clawing at the windows and everything, gets their attention. They come in, he almost shoots them. It's crazy. Long story short, he gets a shower, he gets a shave, he gets some new clothes courtesy of Skinny Pete, and he's kind of on a new mission, and he hits up another old friend, Joe.
Joe, the dumpster owner.
The junkyard guy. Yeah.
It's interesting though how Skinny Pete was like, you might not want to shave
and
off
he just shaved it.
He shaved it nice and clean, his head, his face, everything.
Yeah, those scars are way more apparent now.
Yeah.
Man, he got banged up, but and even more so when he was in the shower, he had another moment where he had a flash of terror of them hosing him down and stuff. And
yeah, that's how he would get cleaned, a dog getting hosed down, chained up and hosed down.
Rough, dude. So, of course the news was on and they're talking about some stuff, and he finally calls Joe. They get Joe there. Joe's saying what's up to him and doing his little routine check to make sure the car's good to go, that he can take it and smash it and get rid of it.
Before he even did that check, though, this is where we really see, like, a lot of people are showing compassion to Jesse. I mean, he was willing to do this free of charge before he even walked back to check out the car.
Yeah, he was like, "You're a good kid," He's like, and then
anyone that watched the news knew that he was what he was put through, but he was still a big part of a bigger picture. Yeah. Not only through that, but before that.
Like, they might have, like, if he gets arrested, he might not be treated like Walter would have been as arrested, but he still would have been let go and, constantly as it would have been rough for him. So, man, he, Joe notices that, and that means the El Camino is really kind of no good at the moment, and they need to figure out another plan, and Pete comes up with one real quick, man. Pretty much just like a whole red herring, do a little double swap.
That's the thing, though. Before the double swap plan, when the car was checked out, his sensor went off. Does that mean that it has a tracer on it?
So what it was, the car is linked with Todd. Must have had some sort of security company on it, and then it was notified or something that it was stolen somehow. Okay. And it went off like right when he was checking it, and he was like, perfect timing. He's like, now the authorities are alerted of this location. So Pete's like, okay. So they basically figure out this plan to have Badger take Skinny Pete's car way down to like almost to the border, right, of Mexico. Not all the way there, but hide it somewhere. Like it was Jesse driving down there. Yeah. And then he's gonna keep the El Camino, so it makes it seem like Jesse just came in, like Skinny Pete says, we smoked a fat bowl, traded pink slips, and he was out of here, yo. So,
That is great, though. I mean, just park it for everyone to see. Like, I don't care. Yeah, he was like, the dude just broke out from hell. He came for food, water, and some enjoyment, and then
he gets hooked up with Badger's. What was the car again that your brother had? First car?
Oh yeah, Pontiac X19.
Yeah, Badger's Pontiac X19. That's what Jesse's in now. Yeah. Called a clown car from Pete.
Weird goldish color, just as weird goldish as the Pontiac SUV that Walt drove in the early seasons of
Walt's was a little lighter tan, but it's definitely that weird kind of like neutral.
It's not gold, it's not mustard, it's somewhere
in between. It was like, it's weird. Like only people who live in deserts have that color kind of, basically.
Camo,
yeah. So, Jesse gets that. Before they leave, though, Jesse's like, Pete, why are you doing all this, man? I mean, they hooked him up with money and stuff. We ended up finding out later that's like $2,800. No, $8,200. I'm sorry. So almost $10,000 worth. But then Pete gives him his beanie. And he's like, "Man, you're pretty much my hero, bro." Yeah. And
that's how he answered. It's just like, "Why are you doing all this for me?" It's like he couldn't even make eye contact with Jesse. It's like, "You've like always been my hero.
You're my hero and shit, man." And dude. So that was a cool sentimental part, because that's pretty much. That's Jesse's last time seeing Badger and Skinny Pete, man.
Yep.
And it was good. It was a good moment, man. And Jesse's on the move now. He's got his plan, and we start getting a little more flashbacks into what his plan is. And those are some flashbacks of when he was in captivity again. And one particular person comes back, one that we all freaking hate because his psychopathic tendencies. Serial killer-esque tendencies. I mean, the dude's freaking nuts. Todd, he's here.
Yeah, it's amazing how much screen time he got. I bet a lot of people were waiting to see like cartels and DEA agents like galore all over the place, but they've just got a whole big dose of Todd because, he's the straw that stirred the drink of the insanity that is Jesse.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what kind of makes it to where that's like the key, I think, here to making it both for people who've watched Breaking Bad and people who haven't. You need that character Todd to have that and show his psychopathic, serial killer tendencies.
Zero feelings of remorse.
Yeah.
As he's killing, and then even after he's killing. Yeah. And then when he says things that should be like sentimental or thoughtful, it's so like small. And like way after the fact.
Petty, non-genuine.
Yeah,
it's weird.
Crazy motherfucker.
Yeah, it's crazy. So we get that dosage fairly. And after watching it again, I appreciated those parts, and they were really well done. And, we first get, Jesse down in the pit, and Todd comes up, gives him a little cigarette down this little, contraption where he, clamps it and takes it down for him. They talk. He's, talking about a normal weather day, and he's like, you know what, actually, Jack and the guys are out skiing, water skiing. He's like, we have the whole weekend. He's like, actually, man, I think it's going to be a beautiful day. I need your help with something. And, he rides along with, Jesse rides along with him. Over to his place, and
were they driving in the El Camino?
They were in the El Camino. Remember, they ended up putting the shell on it. He had to curl down, and he petted him, right? And before he even got out of the hole, Todd's starting to comb his hair and lick his hand and mat down Jesse's hair. He's like, "Oh, I'll promise I'll clean you better going forward." Like he's a dog, man. And Jesse follows him inside, and while we're trying to get more and more of that backstory, we're flashing back over to Jesse as he's approaching Todd's house, because he's kind of been laying low a little bit. It's maybe been 2 days since he's finally escaped to this point, and we're kind of flashing back and forth, and we start to see as Jesse helps Todd put the shell on the back of the El Camino. Maybe you guys saw that in the preview of the El Camino, driving in this gorgeous area back here. Jesse helps him put this shell on, still kind of confused, this is what you need help with? He's like, no, not yet. Goes into Todd's house, and it's pretty fat. You can see the Heisenberg money really showing through the money he received from those barrels and what he's bought, and his crib's pretty fat. But already we see the creepy tendencies of, tarantula in the room. He's got he's into Easter colors. He's got a snow globe fucking collection. And then the worst part, Jesse turns the corner into the kitchen, and there's a fucking dead body in there.
Yeah. And it was just another nonchalant killing by Todd, right?
Yeah, pretty much. And guess who it was? Well, it was his housekeeper,
who was
Selena or her name, or something like that.
No reason.
No reason other than she found where his money was hidden, and he doesn't want anybody knowing. She wasn't going to steal it. She actually came to him saying,
just in case she told someone, the guy keeps his money in a book or whatever.
Just in case he decided, he's like, you know what? I don't want anything to happen. I'm going to strangle her with my belt.
Yeah.
And this is where some really crazy shit happens, and it really shows how kooky this motherfucker is, because not only does he have Jesse help, roll her into the rug in the kitchen. Halfway through, they unroll her so he can get the belt back, and he puts it right back on
his pants.
Then they roll her up, and immediately, not even to get up to wash his hands, he goes down and grabs a pan and looks at Jesse and goes, "You want some soup?" And he goes and looks at soup, and he's like, "Chicken noodle, chicken and starch, cream of chicken, ooh, bean and bacon. One left, Jesse." And it's just so ugh, it gives you the fucking heebie-jeebies. The dude's so fucking creepy, and it's like, I'm gonna eat a bowl of Campbell's bacon and beans after rolling up a dead.
Yeah. There's absolutely no reason for that Todd guy to be breathing any air at all. It's too bad that Jesse's pretty much locked down
mentally at the moment.
Because he had in this movie a couple early chances to off Todd.
Yeah, it's not until Heisenberg liberates him again one more time. But as the radio said on the car. So anyway, we're flashing back. Jesse's finally inside of Todd's apartment, right? And we get a sense, we know why he's there now. He's looking for that money. But Todd also, while he was eating those bacon bean soup, was saying how he needed to put his money elsewhere.
Find a new hiding spot.
Now, they didn't give it to us yet, but we went through one of the great, always great Breaking Bad-esque montages of somebody really getting down and dirty to find something, be secretive, the cool music playing, different cool angles, a really awesome above shot of all the rooms, the layout of the house, and Jesse moving through it. Remember that shot?
Yep.
It was dope, dude. But he tore the shit out of this place. Oh yeah, did we forgot to mention that
it was roped off?
It was roped off, and there's police everywhere looking for Jesse right now.
And there's also the nosiest neighbor that lives
Lou.
in apartment 11, right across the hall from the crime scene that Jesse's trying to peel apart secretly.
So he's literally he's got to be super sneaky in here. Oh yeah, and by the way, while he's in the house lking for stuff, he notices on a TV through a window of another apartment his parents on the TV, so he turns on Todd's to find him, and it's them getting interviewed about, as the possible person of interest, the parents of them, and they're saying about how Jesse turned yourself in, and I don't think he necessarily takes that to heart quite yet, but he at least sees what his parents are saying.
Yeah.
Finally, after giving up almost, he finds the money. And it's,
inside the door of the refrigerator, the framework, like inside between where the shelf meets the, what do you call the stuff that keeps it?
Yeah, insulation.
The insulation.
Yeah.
Right. So basically he
took out the insulation.
Replaced
and
it
the
with
money,
a couple $1 million.
Yeah. It was pretty ingenious spot. Yeah. I mean, even he put the rubber seal back around and everything. And Jesse found it. But right when he found it, I mean, literally, the moment he found it, we see some shadows in the window, and he goes to see who, and, well, it's 2 police officers, seemingly, and they have a key and everything, and they unlock it. Before they get too deep, Jesse's already hiding behind the cabinets in the kitchen, and, Lou comes to save the day by asking, being nosy as he is, and that gives Jesse an opportunity to scoot around the corner real quick and down to Todd's bedroom. But something we noticed right when it happened, when we finally got a good look at the 2 officers that walked into the apartment, we saw that one of them, the actor, is actually in a show we're currently watching on HBO, The Righteous Gemstones. Yeah. And it's a character from there, and though he's very clean-shaven in this movie.
This actor reminds me of like the cat from Alice in Wonderland or something.
I know his like angry look all the time.
He has this happy douchebag look,
happy
smile.
Angry look. Yeah, it's weird. It's like a good, but he fits the character good.
Yes.
But it was funny to see him. His name is Neil in this movie, and then Casey is the other officer there, redheaded gentleman with a mustache, and they split up and. Casey ends up in Todd's room and then runs into Jesse, who says he's no cop killer, and has a partner come in. Of course, this is when things start kind of getting kooky because, he calls for a lieutenant, and you can already tell when they walk in they're not calling each other lieutenants and shit. So it's already kind of like, okay.
Code for shit's going on in this room. Yeah.
Right. And so, long story short, they end up getting into like a gun, point off. Jesse's got 2 guns. Has Casey's gun against his head and one pointing towards Neil. Neil, of course, is immediately like, Pinkman, what are you doing here? So it's already kind of like, wait, he knows him? Okay, he's a cop, so that makes sense. He maybe recognizes him.
Mm-hmm.
Finally gives him the give up, right? Jesse's about to give in, but then they start to handcuff him with an internet cord.
Yeah, whatever they could find, and he's like, wait, where are the handcuffs? And that's when Jesse knew right then and there, like, these aren't cops.
Yeah, he's like, fuck, okay, I know where the money's at. I know that's what you're looking for.
Yeah.
And before they can really do anything else, Lou's back, knocking, the revenge of Lou, and...
sometimes a nosy neighbor can save the day. Go figure, huh?
Right. I mean, it was perfect for Jesse. So Casey goes and deals with that. Neil and Jesse, Jesse points out where the... money is, and Neil's like, well, you can show me where it's at and then you can go.
Yeah.
But Jesse's not done. He has nothing to lose, so he goes ahead and scoops up his half before he can, of course, take that half. Neil stops him and says, only a third. But Neil had a gun pointed at Jesse, and Jesse didn't even faze him at that point. He's kind of like, after he figured out they were just some chumps who got cop windbreakers from the Army Navy store.
As he is, if he gets fucking killed right there.
So they got away with it. They're leaving, and this is when Jesse actually recognizes or remembers that he knows who Neil is.
Yeah.
Because why else would Neil be coming to Todd's house unless he knew that Todd possibly had a bunch of money in there?
How would he get a key? He didn't ask.
I do wonder about the key.
The key might have been just because they had multiple keys. He went back. He went back and found it. There's no way the nosy neighbor or the landlord's like, oh, yes, officer, here's the key.
Right, no.
With no credentials besides a jacket that says police.
Yeah, and they have like regular polos on underneath it. So anyway, they get away, and that's when Jesse notices him, and he's like, oh, I was wondering when you're going to remember me. And Jesse peels off, and, now we know, or Jesse knows where he needs to go next. But before we get that, we're jumping back to some Todd flashbacks. And, we see him finally dump the body over the ledge after lose Gone to bowling. They throw it in the back of the hatched El Camino. They roll it out, drive it out to this beautiful, which we were trying to figure out where it was before stream, but reservation out in somewhere in New Mexico or Utah or whatever they're at in this particular shot. Probably somewhere in New Mexico, but
New Mexico, Arizona, but I think it's probably New Mexico. It's definitely reminds me of like the Navajo Nation area, which is in Arizona, but then maybe this might be a national park somewhere out there.
Yes, probably is. They get a lot. They're cool with those national park people. Yeah. But another creepy scene. You got Jesse. He's stuck in the back with a dead body rolling around while Todd's listening to like 70s
really
like
bad 70s music.
70s music and like with his arm out the window trying to get a truck to honk for him, smiling like he's like in fucking he's in love right now, man. He's loving life, and it's just like ugh. But they get out there. He makes Jesse dig the grave plot again. You might have seen a hint of that in the trailer. Yep. Dumps the body, and this is when they're about to be done. And Todd's like, "Oh, give me another pack of smokes." Goes into the glove box, and Jesse sees the gun.
Cannon.
Yep. And well, he of course gets it out and doesn't necessarily shoot Todd. Todd, being the soulless human he is, literally is unfazed for the most part, just by telling Jesse, just let me get that. And he's like, actually, you know what, man? I was gonna buy some pizzas, cold beer. You really deserve it, man. What kind of pizza you like? And he keeps asking him that same question, and Jesse just breaks and starts crying, and is like, pepperoni. And it's just like, oh God, it's so sad, like the acting is amazing, but it's like, fuck, dude, Todd's really got him here.
He's been through so much, and I think the one thing Todd still has that's keeping Jesse at bay from killing him is the fact that Brock's alive, and if something happens to Todd, that doesn't necessarily mean that Brock is still safe because of the crazy Uncle Jack.
Yeah, Uncle Jack, gang. Right. That's what he said. He goes, Uncle Jack made a promise, and he's going to keep that.
Yeah.
So there's that, too. And that's the last scene we really get of Todd in this movie, but it was that last kind of really hit a home run there and what Jesse's been through. Well, not the very last scene, but...
If you haven't seen Breaking Bad, especially the last season, and you have seen El Camino, if watching Todd doesn't make you want to go back to see how that asshole dies.
Yeah, right.
I don't know what will.
Right. I mean, because that last part when they're out in this desert is Todd's like, it's okay, man. He puts his arm around him. And he's telling him to like, look out and look at the beautiful view of the sunset's gonna be great. He's like, Uncle Jack says, life's what you make it. And it's like, creepy.
Jesse
fuck.
Never looked up. He's just deadpan straight
crying
to the ground. Yeah.
So we do see him again one more scene. I forgot when we learn more about the welder. But as we go back, Jesse is trying to find Ed, the disappearer. The Hoover Max special blast, the whole code word Saul used to have. Jesse's finding that one of the yellow pages he ripped out of Pete's Yellow Pages book. He had a bunch of vacuum stores, so he went down the line, and I guess this was like the last one, and he could tell it was that one because it had that red kidney bean Toyota van in the back. So he's like, this is it. And he went in. And, of course, we get Ed, played by Robert Forster. And it's unfortunate.
Robert Forster, another great actor, and his career ends with a great role.
Yeah, really
he really did it well, and you could tell... did he really age that much since the last show? But no, he was sick. He had brain cancer.
He had brain cancer, right?
And all he had was little white stubby hairs on his head for this filming. But I think he died the day of or the day after.
The day of its release, yeah.
Of the release.
Yeah, unfortunately. So, hey, man. R.I.P.
Loved you in Jackie Brown.
Jackie Brown, right?
Loved you in all the stuff he did actually in the 60s. He was in a lot of great things, but between that and Jackie Brown, the poor guy did a lot of B-rated stuff. A lot of stuff he didn't want to do. But man, when Quentin Tarantino got a hold of him, his career, he got a ton of parts between Jackie Brown and doing Breaking Bad and, of course, El Camino.
Actually, one of the first things I really remember him from, because I've seen him in things, but one that really stuck with me is actually a TV show back. It was that Heroes TV show back in the day. He was in like the 3rd season. He was one of the villains, and it was cool. So, yeah, great scenes with him. Jesse's like, I know you're the guy. Jesse dumps out the money on the table, $125,000. Finally convinces him that he knows who he is. And he's like, okay, well, this 125 is for when you fucked up and didn't come with me the first time. He goes, going forward, if we were, I need another 125. So Jesse's like, fuck. And he dumps out the rest of his money, realizes, oh, yeah, I had that one stack that fell out the fridge first. He's like, oh, yeah, I have that 8,200 from Skinny Pete and Badger. Adds it all up. He's $1,800 shy. And the guy's like, well, that's not the money I need. Sorry. And basically's like, get out. Jesse's like, no, I'm not leaving.
He's a man of his standards and words.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. That's exactly. He's a man of his word. So basically, Jesse doesn't want to leave. He's like not really threatening him, but he's like, I'm not leaving. And then Ed decides to call the cops. Jesse, though, this is a really funny scene, thinks that he totally is, trying to bullshit him. And Jesse like calls him out. Well, they make you stay on the phone afterwards. You have as much to lose as I do. You think I'm a fucking idiot, blah, blah, blah. And it's really funny. The acting was great from Aaron Paul there. It was classic Jesse, like...
They got here so quickly.
Cocky Jesse, yeah. Because he's so serious and scared this movie that to see him kind of in that cocky Jesse mode again is funny.
It made sense, though. Like, everything was clicking. I'm like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, because we were both saying, like, he's fucking got him there. And then, the officer pulling up and he's like, the respawn time is fast these days or something. And Jesse's, sprints out, grabs his money, and leaves.
But he did get a little advice on the way out. It's like, do this with your money, do that.
Yeah.
Go that direction. So he basically sent the cops. The other direction was, no, he saw me call you, and he ran off. He went northbound or something like that.
Some tall, skinny guy with a tattoo over his eyebrow, and it's kind of like Skinny Pete's, thing on his beanie. So the opposite. But, Jesse gets out, he calls him back, and he's like, so you're a man of your word, right? He's like, yep. He's like, I'll get you that money. Yep. So we're starting to prepare towards the final scenes here, right? But before we get another flashback, a little horror with Jesse, of how he met the Neil Candy welder. Neil's the one who welded the cage on top of the concrete pit Jesse was in, as well as the railing that Jesse was chained to when he was cooking meth. So he was
part of the whole $50 bet.
Yeah, pretty much turned his head to human, captivity. Basically was like, who's this guy? Who's this party boy? That's a little joke from the Righteous Gemstones. But anyway, so we see that flashback. Yeah, we see Kenny again. he was Jack's right-hand man. Surprisingly, we saw another Jack's guys. We didn't see Jack, but we saw Kenny. And basically, they made a bet to see if Jesse could break that chain from that railing. And, of course, that's him running back and forth trying to break it is just probably just ripping his, guts. Not ripping him, but you know what I'm saying, just fucking him up, hurting him really bad. And just making him do it until he either passes out or breaks it, assumingly.
It was painful to watch.
It was, yeah. And then the guy's just like making him run, like run. It's like, fuck, dude, $50. You guys are like millionaires now. So that's pretty fucked up. But before we actually get to the final moments, Jesse actually, before he figures out what his final plan is to get the money, he actually tries to go to his parents first. So he gets that burner out that he had from Skinny Pete, and he calls his parents up. Kind of sweet talks him, tells him to meet him and come pick him up at this place he's had picnics at. Tells him not to worry, that they did their best and all that happened to him is his own fault. And that was a good way of kind of ending things with his parents.
Closure with them, get them out of the way, and then pull a fast one on them.
Yeah,
just like
fast
good old time.
It was great, like good old times, man. I mean, hey, they had that place locked down, though. They had like 3 or 4 officers posted up. And basically... his
once
parents
the folks
pulled
went
off,
to meet up, most of them left, and there was only one left, but Jesse knows his way around.
Yeah, I mean, it was his old house, so he got back. He went in the backyard. He got the secret key under the brick. He snuck in. He went straight up to the safe, And after he decided to leave his fingerprints
realized
on the faucet.
They changed their code from his birthday to his brother's.
Right. Conveniently, Jake's in London too, so we didn't have to see the actor who played him. Like a man now. So anyway, Jesse opens the safe. There's no money in there, but there are 2 guns in there. A 22, an old school 22, and a little hip shooter, 6-shooter. Yeah,
a little pistol that a lady would strap on her.
Yeah, like her thigh.
Little leg holster.
Thing. So he got both those guns, and at this point he's ready to go. So he finds in the phone book where the Candy's welding is, and he heads there. As he's heading there, before he can confront Candy, or Neil Candy that is, he notices that they hired strippers. They pull up. And a quick thing, not only there's 2 characters in this movie that were characters in Better Call Saul. All right, the first one is the big bodyguard who's with the strippers.
Oh, was he? Yeah.
Yep, he was one of the bodyguards that when Mike first met the dude, the dude, the pharmacy guy who was selling stuff to Nacho.
Yep.
There was 3 bodyguards. It was Trevor from Grand Theft Auto, or I'm talking about Simon from Walking Dead. Yeah. It was him, Mike, and the other big guy. Yeah, that big guy was that bodyguard.
There you go.
And then in the beginning of the movie, when you actually, and this is another character from Breaking Bad was in there too. When they're on the first news that Skinny Pete and Badger see on TV.
Yep.
That guy talking was the DEA head guy that would get on Hank and be like, Hank, you need to stay and do your thing. That guy was there. And then there was a lady next to him with red hair. She was that prosecutor that Kim was trying to get that deal with.
Kim Wexler was.
Kim Wexler was that redhead curly chick. You remember her?
Oh yeah.
She was standing next to him. I noticed it today when I watched it. I was like, okay, they're bringing characters from the universe still in there, but they're not a big part, right?
Just
you just recognize them, yeah. So anyway, fast forward back to the candy store. Jesse's like, fuck, now I gotta wait. So they're doing their shit with the strippers, and we get not the final flashback, but I think the best flashback of the entire movie. And it's a flashback starting with Jesse in a very ice cold bath, dumping ice on himself. Seems like a hotel ice. He's walking around in a robe in a really cold room talking to a girl on the phone. And, he walks out of the hotel and knocks on the next hotel door. And who comes out of there but Walter White himself, Heisenberg. Well, kind of Heisenberg at that point, but more Walter White at this point. Comes strolling out, and you get a nice side-by-side shot of those 2 heading out of the hotel and onto a salad bar in a cafe. Now this took place, and actually you can see their outfits are the exact same from when it took place at, when their RV broke down in the desert, when they finally were able to get it going and left. Yeah. They went to that hotel afterwards, slept, and then ate that morning. We're getting ready to leave. So that was after that.
Really?
Yeah, because that's the same shit they were wearing.
I thought even further back from that, when they were setting up pest control, tenting houses and cooking in houses.
Oh,
I thought it was somewhere in there.
No, this is real far back. This is all the way back to the point where, because if you notice, Walter didn't have his full goatee yet. He just had the mustache and shaved head.
Oh, I guess so.
Yeah, he didn't have the full Heisenberg goatee yet.
Yeah, I didn't think of that. Yeah.
And the girl Jesse was talking to was Jane. So anyway, they're there, and it was a great scene because Jesse's being old school Jesse. He's getting all crazy, wacky salads like cantaloupe and pineapple and barely any lettuce, 1 tomato on top, and he's like, "Yeah, bitch."
Yeah. Finally, we got to hear
bitch.
Good old Jesse saying "bitch."
Yeah, it was great. Gets there, we have perfect Walter Jesse banter of Walt correcting him and this and that, them talking, and then finally just kind of get into a cool sentimental part about Walter wanting to know, hey, Jesse, you could go to college still, man. I mean, what would you study if you went to college? But, another funny scene about how Walt forgot Jesse graduated, and he's like, dude, Dick, I was on you're on stage with me.
Yeah. He's like, GED, I graduated high school. You were 8 feet away when I got my diploma.
I was like, just don't change the subject, blah, blah. But he asks him, and then Walter kind of convinces him. He's like, he's like, I think you'd be great at getting a business degree, you know. Jesse says something like sports medicine. He's like, I think you should get a business degree. He's like, you practically could teach that class, you know, that like fake build up Walter would do sometimes. But ultimately, what he said that really stuck and was like I think the key moment of the whole scene with them. Walter says, you know, you're really lucky. He's like, you didn't have to spend your whole life. You didn't have to live your whole life to finally be able to do something this special. You know, something along those lines. Saying Jesse's like still young and can do, and assumingly Walter's saying this special as in to make this much money by selling meth, but you're supposed to break that down even further and say, you know, Jesse's still young. He can do this and still make himself anybody he wants. And between, you know, the Mike scene and that Walter scene and the shit that happened with Todd, you can really start to see where Jesse's head's at towards the end here and why he wants to get out so bad and with Ed, you know, using the vacuum Houdini route.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I love that flashback of Walter. That was great. And then we finally get the confrontation at the last part of the movie. And Jesse comes up to the boys partying in Candy's welding shop, you know, doing blow and everything. And he's just there to ask a favor. He just needs to ask him for some extra cash. $1,800. That's it. Mm-hmm. No more, no less. But everybody's a little pumped up. Everybody's got their panties in a while a little bit. Of course,
and they find out that he already got a third.
Yeah, Neil didn't tell Casey that there was, you know, a third, you know, that he thought they got all the money, you know, 50-50 split. So there's some confrontation with them, but Neil pretty much just, you know, puts up his, puffs his chest out at him, and finally, all coked up, suggests that they should do an old school Western shootout, right? And Jesse's like, yeah, like on Wild Wild West, like that kind of shit. It's funny, it's totally something Jesse would say. He's like, yeah, so they get ready, and Jesse's got that 22 ready to go.
Mm-hmm. His hands in his coat pocket, his other hand.
Yep, and they're about to go, bing, bing, bing. But then Jesse pop through his pocket with that little hip gun we were talking about. I watched enough
movies I was waiting for it, but I wasn't sure what was going to happen first. Like, you know, was the other guy going to fire first, or was Jesse going to fire both guns at the same time? But it turned out like 3 good blasts he got out that little pistol.
Like pop, yeah, enough to like, it might even been like the whole clip, dude. Yeah. Like it like emptied at him because Neil was dead pretty quick, dead as a doorknob against the door, literally. And then, but old boy Casey saw a gun holstered on the coat rack, went to grab it. Jesse heard him, turned around with the 22, popped a couple shots. They both missed like they've never shot guns in their life. Jesse picks up fucking Neil's gun, pop, blast Casey through the head. He falls through the vending machine. Boom. He tells the other 3 homies who are pissing themselves and shitting themselves to get up, give them their license. What did you say that was from?
Oh, I was like, before, when he said, give me your driver's licenses, and he didn't ask for anything else, like immediately I thought of Robert De Niro in, I guess it was Goodfellas in an earlier scene where they stopped a truck driver that had something that they wanted. It
was like, I know your name, I know where you live.
Yeah, I'm taking this truck, and you don't know me, but I know who you are now, and I know where you live.
Yeah.
And it worked.
Yeah, it worked.
And, well, that's basically what Jesse did. I mean, he obviously wasn't going to manhunt any of these guys.
No, he just wanted to scare the living shit out of them.
They were already, you know.
Yeah, pretty freaked that he just walked in and then killed those guys. Yeah. And, they're like, no, this guy's absolutely fucking nuts. And they probably, at that point, were kind of figuring out who he was. So he got the money. He presumably went back to Ed. And then we get a nice shot of, them finally up in a snowy area. You can see them going from the U.S.-Canada border, or Canada to U.S. border, and it stops. Ed lets Jesse out of the, hidden compartment in the back of the moving truck.
Yeah, and he had a lot of time in that little, closet laying there with a little lamp. He obviously had time to write, think, read.
Yeah, just really
long ride.
Yeah, very long ride. But, kind of says his goodbye, has his whole new identity. Mr. Driscoll is, Social Security, his backstory with his parents, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And then one last thing that he gives to Ed before he goes is a letter. And the letter is to, Brock. And we have no idea what it says at all. But they did stop a moment to have Ed read it. Though, again, he didn't read it out loud. You just saw his eyes reading it. And he's like, okay, I'll be in Mexico City in about a month.
He already had a perfect plan. If he sends it out of Mexico City, the most dense populated place outside of the United States, it'll get to him and he'll be no trace there.
No trace, right. It's perfect. So, and I guess it was good enough for what Jesse wrote in the letter was, inconsequential enough in terms of the content, right? It wasn't something the guy was like, no, I can't give this to him. He's like, okay, cool. So, Jesse gets on his way in his little Volvo, wherever the fuck it was, Subaru, and the final flashback hits before we get to the final credits, and it's with his first true love, Jane, as they're coming back, presumably from seeing that Georgia O'Keeffe show, and they stop, smoke a cigarette, and Jesse's like, that philosophy you were talking about the other day about, letting the universe take you where it goes, I really like that, it's really cool, and she kind of throws out, yeah, I was being metaphorical. She says, really, that's kind of bullshit. She goes, the universe will take you where it wants to go, but you got to decide where you want to go from there. Something along those lines.
Yeah, you got to, as far as the path to get into there, like the universe will take you on many different paths, but you really ultimately choose for yourself. She said something she did. The very last thing was like for yourself, for myself, for yourself.
Yeah.
So it's like one last reassuring flashback to be like, okay, starting over in Alaska is...
And this is what I wanted to do. And it gets back to Jesse. And, he's got a big grin on his face. And what a way to end it, man. And if you notice, and this is a big thing with Breaking Bad in general, the producers and Vince has talked about, color in the show is a very important thing, right? Especially when it comes to outfits. It really tells you what kind of
sets the moods and stuff.
Jesse's, at the beginning of Breaking Bad, he would wear lighter clothes, real bright colored clothes. By the end, he was wearing dark colored shit, like almost all black. Yeah. And this movie, he's wearing mostly all black. And at the end, guess what? He's wearing a bright white sweater. It's kind of like a rebirth for him, a new start. And like we said, folks, I think it was a perfect ending for Jesse there.
Yeah, and for everyone that was hoping for a bunch of DEA agents and cartel people like re-entering the scenario, most of those characters are dead, and the ones that are still alive, you'll probably see some more in Saul. So wait for that. You can see that because really they didn't have a direct link to Jesse like they did with Walt. I mean, Walt was confronting these guys without Jesse a lot.
Yeah. Walt was
and the
more
bosses and bosses of bosses.
Right. Jesse was kind of in the background through all that. I mean, they knew he was up to something, but he kind of stayed more low profile, and that's just because Walt brought himself. But shit, did Jesse not go out without a bang when he left Albuquerque, man? We forgot to mention that he set a welding torch to a gas tank, in the candy shop after he killed those guys and exploded the whole facility. That was pretty wild before he dipped out.
Yes, that's right. I remember thinking to myself, a good pyrotechnic scene in a movie, because you're not watching a show anymore. This is a movie.
It's a movie, yeah.
You might as well have a little in the budget for some boom boom.
Right. So hey guys, what did you think of El Camino, a Breaking Bad movie? We really enjoyed it. I hope you guys did too. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm not gonna sit here and give it some stars or this out of this. I'm just gonna say
satisfied.
It's satisfied, and it's the perfect ending for this character, and the perfect what happened to Jesse. Well, you got it. It feels good. I enjoyed the ride.
He got what he could deserve, what was left for him to deserve.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
There's really nothing left for the poor guy, so
we're
happy that he got what he got.
Just like Mike said, fresh start, do what you got to do. And Jesse said, make things right. Well, Mike said, nope, that's the one thing you can't do, so just run. And Jesse did. And hey, there we are. So it was titled A Breaking Bad Movie, so could there be more? We hope so. Vince says he at least wants to take a break from Breaking Bad for a little bit, but we still got some Better Call Saul coming around. It's going to be early. They said, one of the interviews the other day said it's probably going to be like early February, late January, early February when it comes out, so we'll see it at the beginning of the new year. We got that. Shit's cleaning up here. So thanks for joining us, guys, as always. definitely go check out the movie. If you haven't seen Breaking Bad, go binge the shit out of it first. It's a binge-worthy show, and I mean, you probably won't put it down anyway. So just get after it. The movie will be there waiting for you. Enjoy the enjoyment.
Whether you're out here in the middle of the desert or on your couch in air conditioning, always enjoy the enjoyment.
Take it easy, guys. PanNerdia out.